Performance, versatility, durability. It's kinda rare for a modern carbon-bladed shoe to meet all these criteria. But I think the Li-Ning Feidian Elite 5 hit all these criteria. Welcome to Cinderella Running, and as you can see from the title, today we will find not a foam pumpkin, kinda the opposite. This shoe impressed me so much that it changed my entire perspective about performance-oriented running shoes. The Li-Ning Feidian Elite 5 came as a big surprise because Li-Nings Feidian Elite lineup, let's say it friendly, it was struggling a lot. The 5th generation is their first generation which featured their new Super Boom foam, and this change saved Li-Nings lineup. Because the old Boom foam is not bad, it's a beaded PBA foam, but it was absurdly firm. Definitely the firmest PBA I have ever felt in a running shoe. So you really had to bring down energy, force to load this foam. And when you could do this foam was amazing, but let's be honest, the Moss couldn't. The new Super Boom foam is a regular dense PBA foam, so still on the firmer side of the spectrum, but it's way easier to load this foam, so it's also easier to access. Let's move to the specs, and the shoe comes with 33mm in the forefoot, 38mm in the heel, so it has a 5mm drop, and this US size 9 comes with 203 grams. It features a CPU outsole, and I will talk about it a little bit later, but I can tell you already, this outsole seems to be indestructible. It has a low plate configuration. If you read something about the T1000 carbon blade, this is just the quality of the carbon, so they improved the quality of the carbon plate, so it also got quite a bit stiffer. So let's move to the ride. How does this feel underfoot? Firstly, this is still a kind of firm shoe, which is actually a funny side story. As I tried the shoe out the first time, coming from the Elite 4, I was thinking, damn, that's a really soft shoe now. And basically everyone looked at me and was like, what drugs are you taking? The shoe is kind of firm. Because the old Boom, as I stated, is extremely firm. So the new Super Boom foam was like a marshmallow to me. It's still on the firmer spectrum, especially if you compare it to foams like Zoom X or like the TPE foams from Saucony, but it's still firmer. And this firmness gives the shoe its versatility. This shoe works almost everywhere. It works on the track. It works for 5K, it works for 10K, it works for 21K. You can do everything with that. You can do your long runs with performance segments in. You can do your threshold intervals, whatever you want to do, this shoe is covering it. And that I mean with versatility. This kind of versatility I have not seen in many running shoes. And the next thing is the geometry is extremely well thought through because it's working for every foot strike. If you land on the heel, you have a very pleasant and very broad and very wide platform you land, and the rocker geometry guides you through, which still feels very natural. If you're a forefoot and midfoot striker, you still have this very wide platform, but you go immediately into rocker geometry. So it doesn't matter what kind of foot strike you have, this shoe is supporting what you want to do and not what the shoe is demanding you to do. Because what bothers me with many performance-oriented running shoes these days is they don't allow you to do what you want to do. They force you in their intended foot strike pattern, in their intended biomechanics. Yes, the faster you are, the better it works, but this shoe still works for everyone. This shoe works at a 6:30 pace, not saying again that you should do this. This shoe works at a 5-minute pace. The faster you are, for example, at like a 4:40, 4:30, this shoe really starts to shine. And it just gets better and better. But it's never on a point where this shoe is trying to correct you, is trying to command you what you should do with it, how you should run it. You are in control. You do what you want to do. And that's a versatility I would like to see in more running shoes these days, at least in the performance segment. And when it comes to the outsole, I am just really impressed. This shoe has around 300 kilometers in and you see absolutely nothing. Yes, the foam got a heart beating because I used the shoe on almost everything, but on the CPU outsole itself, you see nothing. This shoe has seen everything and I used it on everything. I have used the shoe on light trails, I have used it on snow, wet conditions, dry conditions. This shoe has seen 33 degrees in the summer and minus 10 degrees in the winter. It went through everything and it always performed the same. It gripped everywhere and it held up everywhere. Definitely not saying this is a trail shoe, but let's say it in this way, it survived the light trail. If you want to compare the Li-Ning Feidian Elite 5 to other shoes, it gets kinda tricky. The only Western shoe that comes to my mind which is very similar to it is the Nike Vaporfly 3. I think if you like the Vaporfly 3, you will love the Feidian Elite 5 because they share the same DNA. Very versatile for a performance-oriented shoe. The only difference is Elite 5 has an early stage rocker, is more stable, but also quite a bit firmer than the Vaporfly 3. But also more durable. When you want to compare Li-Ning shoes with each other, it gets even more tricky. I will explain soon. But what you cannot do is compare the Li-Ning Feidian Elite 5 with the Feidian Ultra 5. I mean, you can compare to anything you want, but it's a complete nonsense, meaningless comparison. Please do not do this. Why? Later. If you want to compare the Li-Ning Feidian Elite 5, you have to compare it to the Ultra 4. Because the Ultra 4 is the predecessor of the Elite 5, not the Elite 4. To understand what I actually mean, we have to go back in time. So lean back, it's time for a history lesson for the Li-Ning Feidian lineup. And everything started with the Li-Ning Feidian Elite 1, the OG. From 2020 to 2022, not really much changed, just an update, but in 2023 they split the lineup. The Elite 3 became more a short distance racer and the Ultra 3 featured a new technology, the Jiang Tech, which is basically an arrow-shaped carbon blade, and it became more this full distance marathon shoe. In 2024 they made more changes to the lineup. Two major changes actually. They firmed up the beaded PBA foam even more, and they made the gap between the Elite 4 and the Ultra 4 even wider. So the Feidian Ultra 4 became this high-end elite super shoe, and the Elite 4 became this, let's say, more mid-pack orientated trainer/marathon shoe. So in 2025 you notice something happened, something big happened. The Ultra lineup became a tech show-off. Why a tech show-off? They basically just showed what is possible if. They feature all the double carbon plate, which is forbidden in world majors. They feature still their Jiang Tech, and otherwise it's really just look what we can do. So they had a gap to fill, and the Elite 5 filled this gap. But now you can see, well, there is no real option for those slower runners anymore. So if we sort them in terms of performance, this makes more sense. The higher I sort them, the more performance oriented they are. So as you can see, the Elite 5 is now more performance oriented as the Elite 4, but still less performance oriented as the Ultra 4. And the Challenger 5 moved quite a bit up in terms of performance. In the 6th generation, they had to change things. So the Elite 6 is now on the same performance level as the Ultra 4 because the Ultra 5 and the Ultra 6 are still just tech shows. That's why it makes no sense to compare the Ultra lineup to the Elite lineup. They are not in the same category. So if you take this performance chart in mind, then you do understand why it's not really meaningful to compare the Elite 5 or the Elite 6 to the Ultra 5 or Ultra 6. It's simply not a good comparison. So actually, let us compare the Feidian Ultra 4 with the Feidian Elite 5. As I said, in terms of performance, the Ultra 4 is the better shoe, it's the faster shoe, but it's also a way firmer shoe than the Elite 5. Not saying it's harsh, it's just a firmer cushioning. It's also a more mechanical feeling. This is not a natural toe-off. This shoe is forcing you how it wants to run, not how you want to run. But if you are a faster runner, it's a very pleasant cushion and a very interesting feeling in terms of toe-off, because you load this arrow-shaped carbon plate, so you really get the deep, soft sensation when you toe off. It's really like a spring, and that's quite amazing feeling. But please do yourself a favor, if you are a slower runner, avoid the Ultra 4. I have quite a story with the Ultra 4, actually a huge story with the Ultra 4, because I forced myself to let this shoe work, or better say that it works for me, and that kinda went wrong. But that's a story for another time. So this shoe is definitely a rocket ship, and if you are a slower runner, to try to easy run in it, you try to use it on a progression run, it's not a very pleasant feeling. The Elite 6 definitely improved in terms of performance, but it also lost all the versatility of the Elite 5. But this trade-off, this gap now, is filling the Challenger 6, so you still have this option out there if you want a more performance-oriented plated trainer. Challenger 5 and Elite 5 is actually more simple to compare than it looks like. I think it's rather simple. If you do like a more rolling sensation and firmer shoe, go for the Elite 5. If you do like a more bouncy feeling, go for the Challenger 5. It's simple as that. To summarize things up, with the Li-Ning Feidian Elite 5, you will get a shoe that covers all your performance-oriented workouts and covers also all your races you want to do in it. Maybe if you're a heavier runner, it's a little bit firm for the full marathon distance, but otherwise it's a do-it-all shoe. Also, the outsole will hold up definitely longer than the rest of the shoe. The midsole will lose all the pop, the upper will tear apart, but this outsole will stay. And that for a price where you really think, what other brands do right now? Currently, the Elite 5 is in sale and you can get it for around 100 to 140 euros or US dollars. I got multiple pairs of them, I stocked up, because I know I will use this shoe from time to time. It features an early stage rocker, which is definitely noticeable, but it's not overly aggressive, it's not pushy. You are always in control. You decide what you want to do and not the shoe. This is, in my opinion, the biggest strength of the shoe, and this is also why the Feidian Elite 5 is my shoe of the year from 2025 in terms of carbon plated shoes. That was my take to the Feidian Elite 5. The Elite 6 will come, so stay tuned. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to, and I hope to see you in the next one.